Hello everyone, my name is Lacey, this is Lieutenant Dan, and you are watching Reptiles. Alright, I know I missed a video last week, but in my defense, I was making tamales with my grandma. It was a good time. And then I can't overslept. I kind of forgot to post the video, so I apologize for that. But as you tell, look, I'm freshly shorn like a sheep. I have my Conan O'Brien hair. I'm so pleased. Lieutenant Dan is indifferent about the haircut, but that's fine because I love it, and that means he won't get tangled up in my long hair anymore, which I'm sure he will appreciate. And look, we have our decorations up finally. The porch is coming together. It's all boho and cute and stuff. Wow. But that is all beside the point, because today we are telling you about one of the first kind of snakes that I was ever familiar with, and a snake that I think is frankly one of the coolest snakes that America has, because I am a big fan. I'm also slightly biased, but I'm a big fan. Today, that means I am telling you about the Western Diamondback rattlesnake. I love them. They're so cool. When I was little, when I found out there were other kinds of rattlesnakes, my mind was like exploded. My brain blew. I didn't, because in my mind a rattlesnake was just and only a Western Diamondback rattlesnake, because we lived in Southern California, and that's what we saw. If you saw a snake on the ranch, it was pretty typically a Western Diamondback rattlesnake. It's what they were. It's what we had back in the day. But Western Diamondback rattlesnakes are very cool. They're very cool dudes and dudettes, as it were. They live in the southwestern United States, into Mexico. They are kind of awesome. They live in really rocky, well-drained areas, so kind of rocky, what's it called? Like a dry wash. Like when it rains, there's a bunch of water and it's a stream, but then every other time that it's not raining, it's just like a dry bed. So like a dry wash, like a rocky dry wash, they like those. Rocky hillsides, which makes sense because where we were, there were rocks and hillsides. We lived on a mountain, so the whole thing was rock and hillside, so makes sense. And grassy areas, that's another area they enjoy. Basically just areas that exist in the southwestern United States. So that's good. They're great. They're very adaptable little sweethearts. Not that little, but they're one of the larger snakes in the western United States. They're pretty great. But they can live for 10 to 20 years, which is wild. Super cool. They reach sexual maturity at about 3 years old. So when they're 3, they can start having babies for the next, 17 years, making lots of babies. And they typically have between 10 and 15 snakes in their litter or clutter. Why did I not say clutch of eggs? Because they do not give birth. Well, they give birth, obviously, but they don't lay eggs. They, like many other vipers, give birth to live young. So when they're born, they're ready to go. They're just squiggling away, running away, having a great time. Being snakes is great. To continue the cycle of being eaten, making babies, eating lots of rats and stuff. They're cool. Diamondback rattlesnakes are, in my opinion, they're pretty easy to identify because I've seen a bunch of them, but they have a triangular kind of shaped head, arrow-shaped head. They have their iconic diamonds down their back. It's in the name, folks. It does what it says on the tin. Diamondback rattlesnake has diamonds down its back, and the diamonds are kind of lined with like white or black scales. And then down by their tail, this is helpful, their tail has black and white banding all the way until it gets to the rattle. And I feel like I've mentioned this before, but when they're born, they don't have a rattle. They have like a little button at the end of their tail. And every time they shed, that button gets a little longer and longer until it turns into a rattle. Yay! So when they're brand new, they can't warn you that they're scary. They're not scary. They can't warn you to stay away, that they are venomous, and they will defend themselves accordingly. But that's pretty cool. Now, their venom is highly hemotoxic, and as discussed previously on this channel, hemotoxic venom will destroy your red blood cells. It will cause massive tissue death and destroy your clotting factors. Yay! Causing you to bleed a lot, like profusely. So, what do we say, kids? Go to the hospital. Don't treat it yourself. Go to the hospital if you get bit by a venomous snake. See, Daniel is trying to stare deep into your eyes to kind of get that point across. See, he's trying to tell you to listen to him. He's a snake. He is a professional. You see? Professional snake. Rattlesnakes, when they are envenomating their prey, they can lose a fang, which, you know, makes sense. That's like, they don't have arms or legs. That fangs are what they pretty much got. But when they're biting into things with their fangs, they can lose a fang. And they can lose and regrow, regenerate, whatever, several fangs, the same fangs several times in a year. I wish I had that power, because I too have a weird tooth. Yay! And when it comes to breeding season, sometimes the males will go into like male combat. They don't kill each other, they don't really hurt each other, they just kind of wrestle. They just kind of wrap around each other and kind of try to see who's the stronger, better male. So it's not super violent, which is great. And they don't kill each other, which is great. They don't bite each other, they just wiggle and wrestle and have a good time. But that is the basic gist about Western Diamondbacks, because they're super cool and I like them. And they were one of the first, they were the first venomous snake that I was ever encountered. They're pretty cool. Whenever I'd run into one as a small person who didn't know any better, there was one time I was walking the dog and there was a rattlesnake and I couldn't get in the house because it was just chilling there, and I was like, bro, I need to go inside. So I went and I called my dad on the CB radio, because it was the 90s and we didn't have cell phones. We had old technology. So I jumped in on the truck and I called my dad on the CB radio like my ancestors would, and had him come and move the rattlesnake so I could go inside and, I don't know, watch Pokemon or something. It was a good time. But that's Western Diamondbacks. Hopefully this year I'll get to see Western Diamondbacks again in the wild, because we have a trip upcoming at the end of the summer, either August or September. We still haven't nailed down dates, but we're going to be going herping out in, drumroll, Phoenix, Arizona. So I'm excited. I love Phoenix. I love the desert, and I am dying to be in the desert with my rocks and my cacti and my sagebrush and my creosote bushes. I need them to live. And it's my understanding that we have a good chance of seeing Gila monsters, which if I see a wild Gila monster, I will cry. I will cry. I haven't seen a wild one in years, so I would love to see a wild Gila monster. But with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I apologize for not being here last week, because tamales, and you just don't say no to tamales with grandma, obviously. But as always, never stop learning, and a mind is a terrible thing to waste. See ya!